Thank you. The Tamil Eelam struggle is not something born out of discrimination alone. Before colonization of British, I think Tamils and Sinhalese lived as two separate nations, and British made them into one country for their comfort of their colonial purposes. And post-independence, the Sri Lankan government, the constitution formation, has been largely centered on the ruling elite who were pro-colonial rulers. This resulted in discriminating Tamils from all part of political, social and cultural and economical developmental areas. And thus started the demand for a separate nation for Eelam Tamils. And the Eelam Tamil people democratically demanded their right to have their own nation from the colonial design. And for nearly 30 years, they've participated in a more peaceful protest and in a democratic means to have their rights to be ensured. In 70s, the Sri Lankan government started using military and police force to suppress the nationalist aspirations of the Tamil Eelam people. And their constitution, Sri Lankan constitution, is unitary in nature, and it largely centered to protect the Sinhalese cultural, civil, cultural, political, and economical rights alone. But it clearly distinguishes. That it clearly indicates that Tamils are the secondary citizens. They are not the kind of citizens of the Sri Lanka. And this has given the Tamils to have the strength to fight for their nation, because they have been discriminated across the developmental or cultural or linguistical areas wherever it is. And in 1976, the Tamil Eelam people have come together, and through a democratic voting process, they declared that they want to have their own nation carved out of Sri Lanka. So they didn't want to have their rights tied along with the Sri Lankan constitution, where they didn't have any kind of rights. So then, 1976 onwards, that's called a Vattukotai resolution. It's a kind of a referendum, we could call it as. It's roughly around 99% of the Tamils voted in favor of a separate nation. And the armed conflict started in the consecutive years. The India played a very critical role in converting the low-level conflict into a fully militarized conflict. And not only that, the international forces also played a very crucial role in strengthening and training and giving all kinds of support to the Sri Lankan regime. And the genocide, the structural genocidal format, which has been continuing post 2009, the killing of Tamil Eelam people started through a military means from 1970 onwards. In 2009, the war on Eelam Tamil resulted in killing of 146,000 Tamil people in a matter of 8 months' time. So Eelam Tamil people lost life for about 146,000 people in a matter of 8 months' time. And we would like to indicate the brutality of the war. The western district in Sri Lanka, the Tamil Eelam, is called Mannar. Before the war, the population of that district is roughly about 32,800 odd. And after 8 months' time, the population of the same district is hardly 480 people. So that is such a kind of brutal war has been conducted against the Tamil people. And in a matter of 8 months' time, 146,000 people being eliminated. And even UN panel, they formed a committee on it. YSL report indicated that 40,000 people been missing in the final days of the war. As my comrade indicated, that UN very well collaborated with the Sri Lankan regime, and that has been clearly brought out by a report by the UN internal review report headed by Mr. Petri. Petri report clearly indicates, clearly documents how the UN system worked along with Sri Lankan government to commit this kind of a genocide. So the Sri Lankan government could able to get the support from China, from US, from UK, from Iran, from Israel, and from everybody. So in a way that when India and Pakistan came together to support Sri Lanka, and China and America come together to support Sri Lanka, and Israel and Iran come together to support Sri Lanka. Such is the kind of a case. And this such a brutal war committed against Eelam Tamil people in the name of war on terrorism. And that post 2009, and the international community promised several things, but still the Tamil Eelam is being occupied by the Sri Lankan genocidal military force. And there was a resolution in 2015 in the UN calling for an investigation and things like that. And then later that has been converted sophisticatedly that the perpetrators of the crime can investigate their own crimes. Now, I mean, the UNHRC commissioner called for a hybrid court, which we are not in favor of it, because the hybrid court can work cannot work in a kind of situation of a nationalistic movement, nationalistic struggle is been happening. Only when there is a complete change of regime, the establishment of protection of the victims has happened, the hybrid court can work. But still, the UNHRC proposed a hybrid court, and we have asked for international judges to come into the investigation. And Sri Lankan government conveniently convert that international judges into foreign judges. Then India helped them to convert that foreign judges into a Commonwealth judges. And now the Sri Lanka promised in the UNHRC. And later now they are rejecting that we cannot include the foreign so-called foreign judges into the panel. Now for every 5 Tamilians in the north and east of Tamil Eelam, there's one singular soldier. And we would like to indicate that 99% of the Sinhalese army military is Sinhalese. There is not even a percentage of Tamilians are there in the Sri Lankan military. What Sri Lankan military or Sri Lankan government, Sri Lankan sports, Sri Lankan economy, Sri Lankan cultural team, all are Sinhalese. All are Sinhalese. So it is a clear indication that it is a racist regime that is conducting a kind of genocidal attack on Tamils, and the international community are refusing to recognize it as a genocide and refusing to constitute an international tribunal on Sri Lanka for crime of genocide and war crimes. So this is the kind of situation, and the Eelam Tamil people cannot live together along with a genocidal regime. And we can, international community, I mean, through UN, trying to civilize the Sri Lankan government, which cannot work, which will not work. And the only way to civilize the Sri Lankan racist regime is to carve out a nation for Eelam Tamils. And right to self-determination for independence is really an important thing, because the Sri Lanka is a colonial design. It is not a pre-colonial design. And if at all a decolonization need to happen, the Tamil Eelam need to be liberated out of Sri Lanka, because Sri Lanka is a British colonial design. That is the foundation that we've been looking for independence from the Sri Lanka. Thank you.